All right, in this lesson we're going to review the last method for factoring, which is factoring a difference of squares. So at the top of your note here, you've got the pattern for factoring a difference of squares. So basically a squared minus b squared is equal to a minus b times a plus b. So in the first one, x squared minus 36, we would take the square root of both of these terms. So the square root of x squared is x, I'll just write that above. And the square root of 36 is 6. I'll just write that above. So following that pattern, it would be the difference between the two square roots, so x minus 6, and the sum of the two square roots, so x plus 6. Okay, next one, slightly more complicated. The square root of 49m squared is 7m, and the square root of 25n squared is 5n. So then our factors will be 7m minus 5n and 7m plus 5n. It doesn't matter whether you write the subtraction factor or the addition factor first. Now this next one in part C does not appear to be a difference of squares immediately because of the cubed. The a cubed does not have a square root, has a cube root, but not a square root. So always make sure you check for a common factor first, because in this question I could first common factor out an a, which would leave me with a squared minus 16, which is itself a difference of squares. So then for this one I would leave my common factor out front, then I would break down the a squared minus 16 as a minus 4 and a plus 4. Okay, n to the exponent 4 minus 1. Now the square root of n to the exponent 4 is n squared. If you think about it, n squared times n squared is n to the exponent 4. We would add the exponents together. And the square root of 1 is just 1. So in this case it will be n squared minus 1 and n squared plus 1. Now in this case, this first bracket can be further factored because that is itself a difference of squares. So that factors as n minus 1 times n plus 1, and then we would still have our n squared plus 1 on the end. Okay, next one. The square root of 4x squared is 2x, and the square root of 36 is 6. So in factored form, this will be 2x minus 6 and 2x plus 6. Okay, and in this last one, once again, it doesn't appear to be a difference of squares because 32 and 72 are not perfect square numbers. Their square roots are not integers. However, it does kind of look like a difference of squares because we're subtracting and the exponents on the variables are both 2. So it looks similar to a difference of squares. If we first common factor out a 2, we will then be left with, 16x squared minus 36y squared. That is now a difference of squares. So we'll keep our common factor out here. Now the square root of 16x squared is 4x, and the square root of 36y squared is 6y. So it will be 4x minus 6y times 4x plus 6y, and don't forget to keep your common factor out front. Okay, and that concludes our factoring review.